Okay, so I've been kind of throwing around this idea of doing something with Voyager recently, and I kind of want to do it by starting where it all began, the pilot. Now, some of you might know the story of the pilot. The story of the pilot was Caretaker. Basically, both the Marquis ship getting chased by some Cardassians, it gets flung into the Delta Quadrant. Then Janeway picks up Tom Paris from New Zealand for some reason. I don't know why they didn't make it Australia, because that would have been so much better. Australia's now Federation Peel colony. The joke's in there already. And then Voyager, we're introduced to the Voyager crew, a couple of people who end up dying, the Doctor and the First Officer, and apparently we don't get to meet the original Chief Engineer, but he winds up dead anyway later on. So, and we get the whole backstory to Tom Paris as well, which is very similar to a different character from the First Duty, and it was played by the same character, the same actor who's playing Tom Paris now, and there's some debate over what that happened with that. And they liked the character, so they decided to rework it and put it in the show, I guess, in there. And yeah. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know, Tom Paris is actually my favourite character in all of Trek. So then Voyager goes to the Badlands, trying to find out what happened to the Marquis ship. They eventually get thrown to the Delta Quadrant as well. And yeah, they come across this array controlled by the Caretaker, and he's bombarding this planet ways away with energy pulses of some sort. And yeah, that gives them energy and all that stuff, and then the crew gets beamed away after they fix the warp drive. And what do you know? They go to this place, and it's all this southern country wacky place, and they end up getting stabbed with needles. And then they get beamed back, and what do you know? Harry, Kim, and B'Elanna are missing. They're transported to... This is... big hole in the thing. I want to mention it now. They get these things growing on their arms, and this is apparently the Caretaker trying to mate with them for some reason. Because he thinks, hey, my offspring will be the ones to take care of these Ocampo, who biologically make no sense whatsoever. SF Debris has pointed this out numerous times, and I fully understand of it. I'm just sick and tired of hearing about it every time he does a review on them. Anyway, so we have that moment. Then we find out that they're beamed there, and that Harry and B'Elanna are there. Yeah, okay. They get really sick. They try and end up trying to escape. Eventually, both ships find out where they're going. First, they meet the Kazon. First they meet Neelix, who was supposed to be the breakout character of the show. They end up, meeting. Then Neelix leads them to the Kazon. They rescue Kes, who's also an Ocampo, and then after rescuing them, they figure out a way down to the thing, down to the Ocampo home city, and yeah, then they all have to escape. They all end up escaping. Some racism ensues with Chakotay's character, but apparently being not being an American Indian. They were already kind of doing that anyway. Then what do you know? They all escape. Big battle, and they end up having to blow up the array, which would have been the one way of sending them home. Okay. So anyway, let's go over this again, and in a few ways make it a little bit better fit in the Trek universe, because there is some problems. I already pointed out one where they growing these things on the arms. Clearly the caretaker would have figured out, hey, this isn't working, let me fix this, and, you know, not send them to the planet. The only reason they're sent to the planet is so Janeway can meet the Ocampa and have sympathy for them, and therefore not... Yeah. Bad thing. Because it's, you know, the only thing that's put... There's no... The only reason they're going there is for the plot's sake. It makes no sense for the caretaker to send them there. Okay. Why doesn't he say, well, I'm going to keep them here and figure out where they are? I want to figure out if the mating process worked on them. Why would he send them to the planet? If they're sick, why would he send them to the planet? And why wouldn't he send them back to their own people? It makes no sense. Okay, I don't know if anyone's pointed that out before. Anyway. There's a few odds and ends I missed. I'm going to go over this completely now. Alright. Let's rewind back to the beginning. Okay, opening this episode up with a battle, great idea. It immediately sucks the audience in. Action and all that. It was one of the few things about the '09 movie that worked, was that it started off with a big battle. Okay, this isn't on that scale, but it's interesting. We've got a little ship, big ship. Similar to to Star Wars, I know, but done a little bit differently. Firstly, if I know I'm going to need a bunch of characters, I'm going to want a bigger ship. Okay, slightly bigger ship. Okay, so say there's supposed to be 60 people on this ship. A little bit bigger. Something between the ship we got and the size of the Defiant. Okay, about that size. Anyway, mind you, the Defiant size fluctuates depending on what it's going up against. Sometimes it's this big compared to a Gala-class warship. Sometimes it's this big compared to a Gala-class warship, which is even bigger. Okay. So that, and I got no problem with the opening sequence, the opening thing with them. Okay. Now, the way we could have done this a little bit better is, I checked it out. The previous episodes that lead up to when this was going to premiere was the episodes past tense, where Cisco, Dax, and Dr. Bashir all travel back in Earth's time period because, well, you know, they're at Earth. Here's a simple way. You drop a line in there somewhere that Odo is there to pick up Paris because he's supposed to meet with Janeway. Okay, because that's where Voyager's supposed to be parked. Okay, so you throw that in there. So the initial meeting that takes place between Janeway and Paris happens in the brig or whatever, the block up at that they have on DS9. Clearly this is not a set that they use all the time, so why not let the Voyager people borrow it for a day? Okay, then let them borrow Renee Objamod, that the guy who plays Odo, for a little time, okay, when he's in makeup. Fair enough. He doesn't have to be there the whole time. You can have a token guy in a Bajoran costume. You can have a token gold shirt there as well. Janeway does the exact same speech, but the two of them are just standing there, and Paris is behind a force field. By the way, we're going to tweak a few characters here as well. Okay. I've got pictures here, and what do you know, we've cut some time. Also, after we have that meeting, we can go straight to the Harry Kim scene, if you really want to do that scene too. I personally don't like it. I don't like that. I'm gonna... If it were up to me, I'd completely change Harry Kim's character. It's... stupid. They have this thing. They did it in Voyager and they did it in Enterprise. They have this character, and they've done it in Next Gen as well. Thank God they avoided it in DS9. Is they have a character who's clearly not ready to be out in space, and they just love this character. They have this character who's clearly not ready to be out there. He's got all the training and everything, and they clearly... Fuck that, okay? I hate that shit. But okay, you want to do it, But after season 1, this guy has got to change. He's not the he's not the show's punching bag. We got that on another show. O'Brien, it turned out to be the punching bag, but at least he did it with some more balls. I don't know. There's usually this wet behind the ears thing, and it ticks me off. Okay, so we go from there. And by the way, Tom Paris accepts the offer. He gets immediately released. Blah blah blah. You do that as well. They leave. You do the whole thing. By the way, this time Tom Paris is in uniform. He's in that outfit you see. You see him at the beginning with a prison uniform or whatever. But if not, you give him some civic clothes. He should not be in a uniform. He's an observer. Well, that's stupid. Why is he wearing a uniform? Okay. You didn't want to fork out a few extra dollars for another costume. Why couldn't... That was something that bugged me too. Why didn't they just have him in the prison uniform if they're from that? Anyway. He should not be in uniform. By the way, we get that. We get the background again. All that was fine. The bit with the replicator is really cool. The plain tomato soup, hot plain tomato soup. You can do that again. And you can even have the same scenes with Harry Kim and everything too. That's really cool. So Tom Paris does help him out and everything. That's fine. They get thrown across the galaxy. The ship gets busted up, and this will come in more handy later on, because I'm going to do all of season 1 after the pilot as well. So we do that. Get the same bit with the doctor and everything. Everything after the thing is fine. I even love the bit where after they're sent back in thing. You can just have Captain Janeway also say she, despite Starfleet regulations, she prefers to be called Captain, not Ma'am, not Sir, or anything like that. Just Captain. Don't even, please, for the love of God, don't hang a hat on it. Yeah. Other things too. I'm trying to just keep my way through the episode. The bit with the warp drive, that's still there, that intact as it was. Uh, the Doctor introduction, that's cool. Even the bit on the array, that's fine too. All right. Now, the time to get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, so the Caretaker is still dying. That's why he's doing all this stuff. Everything about that kind of worked. I would like a better reason for sending them to the planet. Okay, he sends them to the planet. Sends them to the planet because he is constantly scanning for other ships for him to bring in, and he's got to keep doing that. Voyager is the last ship he picks up because he knows death is imminent, and he thinks he has enough time to send them back, because he's also been sending the ships back as well. And the reasons he's held on to the Magpie is, or whatever, he sort of had to rush through the Voyager people because he's dying. Whatever is happening to him has sped up through this. Actually, you know, mate with them, but anyway, yeah, he's still trying to mate with them, and he sends them to the planet because the Ocampan have been able to reverse the process that they're going through. They're not, the people aren't dying. They're just he's sending them there because if it works, they can, well, you know, got a lot of life there. But he hasn't got enough time. He hasn't enough time to see if it's worked, and that's why he's always going to send them away, because after he dies, the whole array thing gets sucked into subspace, or it blows up, or whatever. It stops functioning because it's him that's keeping the array powered. We find that out at the end, and that is why they're stuck. Not because Janeway has to blow it up. It's just it will shut down, and it will slowly die. They won't be able to be powered because they'll just rest in space. This ghost space station thing. Yeah, and yeah, that. Okay. Time to talk about the Kazon. The Kazon would be handled a bit differently. Now, because Voyager is supposedly going to keep moving, we tease that this guy that shows up in this one, he's just going to be one of many weekly Kazons that come up, because they're going to run into different sects. I like the sect thing, but sect is sort of a different term here. They're individually, it's like they're kind of like, I guess the mafia. They sort of control everything, the trade and everything in space, because they're like criminals and everything, and it's sort of like the mob, but gone on a galactic, sector scale, space scale, or whatever. But each one sort of rules their own thing, but there's this one big boss that's sort of like, that we will get to see at the end, which will be the last one we come across. This is big as guy. That guy's got a big Kazon ship, kind of like the one we see at the end, sort of thing. But yeah, it's got that. So yeah, the escape sort of happens a similar way, but I think okay, time for me to just go over the characters really quick. I just want to go over them really quick. Neelix will have changed. If I can put the pictures up here, this will be really cool. Neelix is going to be more like this character. I mentioned this in my podcast when we were reviewing, which I will also try to remember to put down in the description below. But if not, you can find it in my list, Magpie, elsewhere. When I talked about this with Alex, that Neelix should have been based more on this other character, Lieutenant Benjamin Krieg. Yeah, okay, so Lieutenant Benjamin Krieg was sort of like what I always thought Neelix should have been. Neelix should have been more like him, because he was a supply officer. He was also unofficial morale officer. Oh, I think he was a morale officer. And he was better at it. John D'Angelo, so was his name. So it should have been more based on him. Now, I can't remember. I think Sequest would have been. Well, his part of Sequest would have probably been done. So if I could have had the same actor, that would have been great. But kind of playing the same character, but better. I got no problem with the Neelix makeup either. I got no problem with anything like that. Just yeah, it should have been based more on him. He was like sort of a scoundrel, trying to do a little. It was sort of comedic, like he was trying to always. He would have been a little bit similar to Tom Paris. Like there would have been that little connection between them two as well. But yeah, it's sort of like more competent, and I would have even kept him if I could. I would have even had like a similar situation, like he would sleep in the cargo bay or whatever, and be like, yeah, I'm a supply officer, I always got to be around, sort of make so he's sort of and he would actually be more competent. Like he would say, look, you can go here, but look, we're going to be risking running into like no matter where we go and have to deal with the Kazon sort of thing. I'm going to show you the best way across because you've got a powerful ship, but we're still going to run into them, and it's still going to be. You're going to have to keep me here to be able to cross, and to a degree that would be true. But like he would also be like, he would kind of be like Quark. Like ultimately he'd kind of be a villain, but he'd be like our villain sort of thing. I don't know. He'd be shade of grey. Like, how much can we really trust this guy? And I might not even keep him on for the entire run of the series, to be honest. I think a good place for him to have left would have been that episode where he sort of ran out of his limits, and he. But for whatever reason, they wanted to keep him on. Kess, the whole Ocampan thing would be. I'd increase their age, and if they insisted on having them mate only once, they would have a litter of kids as well. It'd be like, they mate once, or they mate a few times, but every time they have like 5 or 6 kids, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So like the downside of mating with them. Okay, Tuvok would be pretty much the same. Janeway would be challenged on her decisions, and it's really think Chakotay would be. If they insisted on making him American Indian, I would have preferred him to be played by an American Indian, Native American. Sorry. Or even have him actually be an American Indian. I wouldn't have done that episode, tattoo. I would have said, or at least pointed out, guys, you realize you're making these guys white, right? And that would have been, I'm like, yeah, let's make, yep, but this can be interpreted a really bad way. So, kind of gone over Harry's thing. B'Elanna, actually, I kind of like B'Elanna, except just to shut SF Debris up, she could identify shit with a tricorder. I think Tuvok and Alex, Cass, B'Elanna kept the same. The Doctor, I think he's one thing they did do right. Harry, with less of the punching bag going forward. So yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this up a bit. So yeah, but the whole story I think works. Okay, so we have a reason for like. It is kind of contrived that they get sent to the planet. It takes away the necessary decision part, which was sort of what brought him down. In the episode, it's revealed it's a program to send them home. It would take them a while to boot up. They kind of mentioned that. Okay, but take away the fact that, hey, there's a battle going on outside. Like, at least they should have had Janeway like, no, okay, we're not going to be able to get this, be sent home without both our ships being destroyed, and we have to just take the station out. We're going to take it out of the equation. That's the reason we're fighting, sort of thing. At least make that a little bit more obvious, because in the show, they kind of make it sound like she's made the decision for all of them, and it kind of doesn't look cool, and it kind of ruins the pilot. But make it a little. If they'd made that a little bit more obvious, they're going to be overrun. They got a giant Kazon ship there that's going to severely fuck their ship up if they don't get out of here. Fine, let's take the station out of the equation. If they'd done that, it would have at least worked a little bit better. But they didn't do that. So I decided, fuck it, just take the whole thing out of the equation, make it powered by the Caretaker himself. Once he's gone, the whole thing's dead in space. It doesn't work. They can't put power into it. Nothing will work because it's designed to be run by him and all his power. Anyway. His life force or whatever powers it. That would have been alright with me. Okay, but... And plus you could have really done some really funky design with it, make it look like the whole station's alive, sort of thing. Like he is the space station, sort of thing. That would have been really cool. But, they didn't do that, so... Fuck it. Anyway... So I'll be back, and I'll be doing Season 2. I want to do some more wrestling stuff, too. Kind of in a wrestling kick right now. Watching some old Brock stuff on the network. Watching a lot of old SmackDown that I didn't get to see, so... Yeah, I expect some more wrestling stuff at some stage. Survivor Series is coming up, plus it's the 25th anniversary of Taker. So you know I'm going to be talking about that show. Right now, I'm not entirely satisfied. It doesn't look like we're going to get any Survivor Series matches. Which is kind of what everyone wanted. I might do a quick video on how I would have booked the Seth Rollins situation, made it a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficient. Okay. See ya.